Wisdom with Disapwa. For those of you coming in for the first time, I am Disapwa. I'm a transformational coach, sacred womb activation practitioner, Reiki master, author, speaker, and founder of Disapwa Coaching LLC. As a Wall Street Journal featured healer and best-selling author, I'm passionate about helping women reconnect with their inner wisdom, creativity, and sacred power. Through my unique blend of coaching, meditation, ritual, energy healing, and goddess-centered teachings, I guide women on journeys of personal and spiritual transformation. Known as a goddess whisperer, I create nurturing and empowering spaces where women can heal, grow, reclaim their authentic selves, and awaken the fullest expression of who they are and who they're meant to be. My mission is to help women remember their innate power, trust their inner guidance, and step boldly into lives filled with purpose, joy, creativity, and possibility. And I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, Goddess. Let's start by taking a deep breath, allowing your shoulders to soften, allow your jaw to relax, allow yourself to arrive in this sacred space. Now, tonight we're continuing our exploration of the creative womb, excuse me, by entering territory many women know intimately: creative blocks, the unfinished book, the business idea that never launches, the painting that remains unfinished in the closet, the dream that never received attention or the love it deserved, and the voice that remains silent. Many women assume these blocks mean they're lazy, undisciplined, untalented, or a variety of other names that we give ourselves, and none of them are good. And tonight I want to offer another possibility, though. What if your creative block is not the problem? What if it's the messenger? What if your block is trying to tell you something sacred? So for tonight, I really want us to focus on re-examining and reimagining what that creative block might be. So let's make a few affirmations about what we intend to do tonight. And I want you to repeat after me if you feel called to do so, if you feel that this affirmation is right for you. I am willing to listen to what my creative block is teaching me. I am willing to listen to what my creative block is teaching me. I am willing to listen to what my creative block is teaching me. I release judgment. I release judgment. I release judgment of myself and my work. I choose curiosity. I choose curiosity. I choose curiosity. I trust my creative wisdom. I trust my creative wisdom. I trust my creative wisdom. And if you feel that somewhere in your body, take note of that, because this is important work here, to make affirmations for yourself and for your creativity. And just for tonight, I put on a t-shirt I got at a beautiful writing workshop, and it says, put it in a love letter. And so you may want to focus on putting in a love letter to yourself tonight and allowing yourself to love who you are and what you are willing and able and capable and desiring to create in your life for yourself. Remember, our creative blocks don't only have to do with creative outputs such as writing or singing or dancing, but our ability to create the life that we dream of, desire, and deserve for ourselves. It's all tied in together. Okay. So, all right, womb whisper for tonight. What is the goddess whispering to me so that I can whisper it to you? Because remember, the goddess always whispers. She doesn't shout at you and tell you, you better go do this, unless, it's life and death situation. Um, but she'll whisper to you an idea, a thought, a concept for you to take it and run with it as you see fit. Okay. So here's our womb whisper for tonight. The creative block is rarely protecting you from failure. More often, is protecting you from transformation. It makes me get a little emotional to say that. I'm going to say it again. More often, it is protecting you from transformation. Because if you truly create what is inside you, you can never again pretend to be who you were. Think about that. Allow that to settle. Allow that to settle somewhere in your body. For me, it's like, you know me. Get emotional over everything, but that's okay. That is okay. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about creative blocks. Most women think creativity stops because inspiration disappears. And that really couldn't be farther from the truth. Creativity rarely disappears, it simply gets buried beneath fear, beneath grief, beneath perfectionism, beneath self doubt, beneath criticism, beneath exhaustion. That's a big one. And beneath old stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we're capable of. Creative blocks are often emotional blocks wearing creative clothing. When we heal the emotional wound, the creativity begins to flow again. Now, here are 5 common creative blocks that we suffer from. Number one, and this is really the biggie: fear of judgment. If I create this, if I do this, if I change myself, whatever, um, what are people going to think? What are they going to say? You know, all that blah, 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 blah. We hear from other people and sometimes even from our inner critic that has a lot to say about what we do. Here's block number 2: fear of visibility. If I shine, if I put myself out there, I might be criticized. And this may be a subset of fear of judgment, but it's a little bit different because we do fear that criticism because with fear of judgment, people may judge positively, they may love what you do. So so um that will that can make a big difference in how you view um these two fears. But fear of criticism and the way that we critique ourselves um, is a very big fear. Block 3: perfectionism. If I can't do it perfectly, why should I do it at all? It's not worth doing unless I'm sure that it's going to be just, the most wonderful thing ever. And, this is exactly how dreams and businesses and lives stall because if it isn't perfect, which, let's face it, perfection is an impossibility. There is no such thing as perfection. So you're constantly chasing something that you can never, ever have. And so we get stalled because there is nowhere to go. There is no way to find perfection or seek perfection except by constantly doing and redoing and overdoing and never actually allowing anything to come to fruition. We just keep doing. Okay. Block number 4 is fear of success. What if I'm successful and my life changes? And that can be a very big fear because in order to move forward with anything, to have any kind of transformation, there are people, places, ideas that you may have to leave behind in order to fulfill this new destiny that you've created for yourself. You know, old friends may fall away because they don't recognize you anymore as the person that they knew. New friends may come up, and then you may feel like maybe I cannot trust people who are just becoming friends with me now because maybe they just want what I have, what I've created for myself. Block number 5 is unhealed grief. And many women lose access to creativity after loss, after death, after divorce, after betrayal, after disappointment. Sometimes that creativity pauses while the soul heals. And we just don't recognize the fact that we are not stalled, we are healing. And in that healing process, our creativity, our ability to create the life that we want, or to create music or dance or to write, um, will come back. And this is something that happened to me in my lifetime. I went through a period, and this is when I stopped writing fiction. Um, I had an agent, a dear, dear man, who passed away when he was my agent. I got another agent, and within the year of getting that agent passed away. My editor at the publishing house where I was working, she left. And on top of that, my grandmother passed away. And all of this occurred about a month after I stopped smoking. So the thing that I had used all these years of my life that had been, a consolation was no longer even there. And there was so much to grieve in my life at that time that I did not have any desire or motivation or impetus or ideas or anything. It was like every writing instinct had just fallen away, fallen away. And it took years for it to come back and to feel as if, oh, okay, now I'm ready because I have grieved enough. I have healed enough. And maybe if I had recognized earlier that that's what it was, that it was grief and not a lack of motivation or oh my God, I can't write anymore, or you know, any other number of things that I was saying to myself and ways that I was critiquing myself at that time, and rather harshly, if I had recognized it as just being the natural grieving process, things might have changed. I might have healed faster, but I didn't, and I don't blame myself for not at the time recognizing what it was. Okay, okay. So now, um, I'd like to talk just a little bit more. Let me just grab. And I want to start by just giving us access to some divination each time we do this, which I think is very helpful. So for tonight, I want to grab out my uh, Doreen Virtue Goddess cards. This was one of the first, aside from tarot, this was one of the first divination decks um, that I received. So here we go. Please move it in my phone. All right, here we go. And I'm just going to pick right from the top. Interesting. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but this is Ostara. And she's a Germanic goddess of fertility. and you may recognize her name sounds very much like Easter, right? Um, and right now it said it's the perfect time for you to start new projects, access new ideas, and give birth to new conditions. So the time is right. It is right for us to create from the heart, from the creative mind, from the womb. And this is our card for tonight, and I love it. Alrighty. So one of the things that I really want to talk about, especially as far as um, the way that we critique ourselves as creative people in the world, right? The seed never questions whether it is worthy to become a flower. It simply follows its nature. Okay? Your creativity is your nature. It's not your reward. It is who you are. When we are born into female bodies, we are given access to all the creative forces of the universe. So, what I want you to really focus on is the idea that you don't have to wait for anything. You don't have to wait for anybody. You don't have to ask for permission. You can simply exercise your own nature and be who you are. Okay. Whew. So, how do you feel so far? Okay. Now, here's what I would like you to do for the upcoming week, and that is to spend 10 minutes every day creating something that nobody will ever see. It is strictly for you. And there is value in creating, even if it is just for you. Not for social media, not for your business, not for productivity, simply for your own joy. Write, draw, dance, hum, color, play. Allow creativity to become sacred again. So now take a minute to close your eyes and take a deep breath. Place your hands over your womb and imagine standing before an ancient, beautiful doorway. This doorway represents your creativity. Notice the doorway, notice its color, its texture, its energy. And now ask, what stands between me and my creativity? Allow an image to emerge, a fear, a memory, a belief, a wound. See it clearly without judgment. Simply witness. Now imagine a warm ruby red light flowing from your womb. The light expands. It surrounds this energetic block you're feeling. Not forcing, not fighting, simply loving. Ask, what are you trying to protect me from? Listen and receive. Now ask, what would help me feel safe enough to create? Listen, receive. Feel the red light growing brighter and brighter and brighter until the doorway begins to open just a little. Not because you forced it, because you listened, because you honored what was present, because healing is happening. Repeat silently. I am safe to create. I am safe to be seen. I am safe to begin. I release what no longer serves my creative spirit. My creativity is returning to me now. Take a deep breath, way down into the belly, release it, and slowly return. And now I'm going to offer you some journaling prompts because I'm a writer. I got to have journaling prompts. But journaling doesn't necessarily mean writing something out, it can just be doodling whatever comes to mind. It can be artwork, it can be whatever response seems suitable for you. So here we go. Now, this is for you for after the broadcast. Okay, for after we're done, you can uh, work on these prompts. What creative dream have I been avoiding? What creative dream have I been avoiding? Number two, what fear sits beneath the avoidance? We talked about 5 fears earlier. Which of those fears is sitting below that avoidance? Number three, what would become possible if I released that fear? What would become possible? What is one small act of creation I can commit to this week? And that's the final prompt. What is one small act of creation I can commit to this week? And that was really our assignment for the week, is to spend just 10 minutes creating for the sake of creation. Okay? So goddesses, your creativity is not broken. It is simply it has simply been waiting for you to listen. May you recognize your blocks as teachers. May you honor your fears without obeying them. May you release what no longer belongs to you. May you trust the wisdom hidden within every descent. And may you remember that every masterpiece begins with a single brave act of creation. Until next Wednesday, stay radiant, stay creative, stay open to what wants to be born through you. I'm Dee Savoy, the Goddess Whisperer. See you next time.